In the beginning of the story, we see a prisoner in jail, Frank Adrian, who was accused of stealing 2 million euros. In his cell, there was another prisoner named John, who was inside to tease a little girl. One night, some prisoners came to his room and asked Frank to go out, after which they started harassing John. Frank stood in front of the camera so that the police would come and help him, but the prisoners had given money to the warden, so no one came to help him. Seeing this, Frank went back to his room and started hitting them, after which some guards also reached there and took the prisoners with them. The next day, Frank and John's wives came to meet them. Frank's wife, Anna, asked him where he had hidden the money, but Frank didn't trust him, so he refused to tell anything. You shouldn't even trust. Neither did she cook food from home, nor did she come and ask if you had eaten or not. This woman is not worthy of trust. Anna also brought her daughter with her, seeing whom Frank was very angry, because he didn't want to meet his daughter like a prisoner. But seeing his daughter, he couldn't even stop himself from meeting her. On the other hand, John's wife told him that he would come out soon because those who had filed a case against him had taken back all their demands. After a while, all the prisoners went to watch a program of the jail. Here suddenly a prisoner threatened Frank and asked him about the money, because he was about to be released from jail in a few days, and he wanted to take this money from Frank. Without telling him, he attacked Frank and he fainted there. After 3 days, John was sitting with him when he woke up, who told him that now he is free from jail, because the other party had taken back their charges. Before leaving, he thanked Frank and gave him his number. Before John went out, Frank asked him for help, that he should go out and meet his wife and tell her that Frank has hidden the money in his father's grave. Before leaving the jail, John went to the bathroom and pulled out some of Frank's hair from the comb so that he could use it to do some work later. A few days later, former police chief Manuel went to meet Frank in jail. He actually came to inquire about John, on which Frank said, "Sir, he is not my close friend. He used to live in a room. He was an ordinary decent man. He was released." On this, Manuel told him that he is not a decent man but a serial killer, and he often pretended to be decent in front of his next victim. Manuel wanted to do anything to get John punished. Hearing all this, Frank started worrying about his wife and daughter. On the other hand, a police officer named Charlie was on an undercover mission in which he and his team were going to catch a drug dealer. Charlie disguised himself and very cleverly recognized the tattoo on the drug dealer's body and successfully completed the mission with his team. Here, Frank was always worried about his wife and daughter. One day, while working day and night, a guard and some prisoners attacked him, because they were also after his stolen money. The next one stole the money with hard work. These scoundrels want everything for free. But this time Frank didn't faint. Instead, he fought them and stole the clothes of the guards and ran away from the jail. On the other hand, John and his wife were looking for their next victim when they saw in the news that Frank had broken the jail and ran away. Hearing this, John's wife was afraid that Frank would catch him somewhere, but John was sure that Frank would not say anything to him. We find out here that he had kidnapped Frank's daughter. On the other hand, the police chief ordered Charlie to find Frank and arrest him. But Charlie was not ready for this because he was already on a mission to catch a drug dealer. But the police chief said, "Look, son, it will keep happening. First catch this Frank." Then Frank went home to meet his wife and daughter, where he saw that there was no one there. He thought that they might have gone out somewhere. That's why he left a letter for them, in which it was written that he would come back to meet them soon. Then Charlie and his team surrounded the house from all sides. When they searched, they didn't find Frank first, but after getting his letter, they searched and found Frank this time. But Frank was not one of those who gave up. He broke the window and ran away from there. At night, he reached his father's grave, where he saw that his money was missing, and there were 2 corpses instead of 1. In that grave, the second corpse was not someone else's, but his wife's. He was very saddened by his wife's death. But soon he was worried about where his daughter was. He had understood that John must be behind all this. That's why he called John and asked about his daughter. John told him, "Look, don't worry too much. Your daughter is absolutely safe with me. She's sitting behind me right now, but if you try to find her, she'll die. Got it?" After disconnecting the phone, John dropped Frank's stolen hair on the corpses. clothes which he had just killed, so that the police would think that this murder was committed by Frank. And to get him caught, he hid the corpse where Frank was hiding earlier. The next day, when the police searched the area, they found both the corpses. One of them was the daughter of a former police officer, Thomas. The police were completely suspicious of Frank, but Charlie was feeling something fishy. Here, Frank went to Manuel's house to find out about John. Manuel was a retired police officer who used to do private investigations. To help Frank, he went to the police station and found out the location of John's phone. Here, Frank was waiting for him at Manuel's house. That's when Charlie went to catch him with his team. To escape from them, Frank first took Charlie under his control and forced the rest of the police to put their weapons. He told Charlie that he didn't kill anyone. In fact, all this is John's conspiracy. He finished everything and ran away from there. And before the police could do anything, Manuel had arrived to help him. The police fired smoke grenades to stop him, one of which hit Manuel. Manuel was ready to sacrifice his life to get Frank out. He gave Frank John's address and asked him to jump out of the car. Frank did the same and later stole another car and left. The next day, he reached a pharmaceutical store because he knew that John needed a special kind of medicine. Charlie started reading all of John's files because he was convinced that Frank wouldn't kill anyone. John saw another girl in the market whom he used to love, and he decided that she would be his next victim. When she was going home, John and his wife stopped her and asked her the address of a place and said that the road is very complicated. You drop us there. At first, the girl wasn't ready to get in the car, but she agreed after seeing a girl in the car. But after a while, she realized that she was actually kidnapped. After that, she tried to run away and somehow she got out of the car and started running towards the forest. But unfortunately, John caught her and killed her in the same place. The next day, Frank saw John leaving the same pharmacy and quietly started following him. After following him for a long time, he finally found out the address of John's house, which was in a very quiet place in the mountains. After dark, Frank tried to sneak into his house. And then Claire also reached there because she was suspicious of John. Frank was very happy to see his daughter safe and sound. But as soon as he left with his daughter, John and his wife pointed a gun at him. Suddenly, Charlie also reached there, but John shot him and dropped him down the stairs. Seeing this, Frank had run towards the mountains with his daughter. John also ran after him to catch him. We see that Charlie was still alive, and he attacked John's wife and made her unconscious. On the other hand, John found Frank and shot him in front of his daughter. Frank fell down the mountain, but then he hanged himself on a tree and saved his life. John pointed a gun at him again, but before he could kill Frank, Charlie shot him, and he fell directly into the river. After this, Charlie and his police chief were trying to save Frank, but then Thomas reached there, who thought that Frank killed his daughter, and he shot Frank to take revenge. The next day, the police did a search operation to find Frank and John's dead body in the river, in which only John's dead body was found. After 3 months, Charlie went to an orphanage to meet Frank's daughter, where his daughter was holding a paper. There was a heart mark on it, and this paper was probably sent by Frank and not anyone else. So is Frank still alive? What do you think about this? Do tell us in the comments.